Thank you for tuning in to another fun episode with your favorite Mouseka moms, Jennifer.
Yo, what's up?
Lori.
Hi.
And Juliana, that's me. Hello. As we are maybe not so patiently awaiting Disney Cruise Line to set sail again, we thought we'd take a sip of our pina coladas and drift away to the ocean and talk a lot about Disney Cruise Line because we are pining for a Disney cruise. But first, the Mouseka Cocktail. Lori?
So, despite what the other two Mouseka moms like in their alcoholic beverages,
I can deal with rum.
Disney Cruise Line has drinks of the day, and drinks of the day tend to have rum in them, especially if you're in the Caribbean. Yes, I know. So the drink we're going to talk about is the Disney Cruise Line's The Yellowbird. I've actually had this one. It is delicious, and unfortunately, one of my kids tasted it too because they didn't realize it was alcoholic. But it has, there's no judging. It has white rum, a splash of creme de, it's banana, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pineapple juice and orange juice. So it really just tastes like banana. It's fantastic. But yes, lots of rum. Sorry, Juliana. Super sweet. It is a very, very good drink. It'll come up on drink of the day. I think no matter how many days you pick, it's always usually there.
Did you say it's also super sweet?
Yes.
Rum and super sweet.
Rum, banana, pineapple, and orange. None of that is not
frozen.
Sweet. Yes, that one is frozen.
I can do a frozen sweet drink because it's like ice cream.
Kind of. White rum is definitely more palatable to me than dark rum. Okay. So like that's not horrible, but I don't know. I also do not like pineapple juice drinks. This is a problem for me.
I wonder if this is one that you can get on Castaway Cay. Because this is the kind of drink that I can sit on a lounge chair on the beach and drink because it's so hot in the sun and you're drinking a frozen drink and it has alcohol. I mean, yes.
Yes.
No.
Well, yeah, there are plenty of drinks that Juliana can drink on a Disney cruise. But
yes.
Are we ready to go into the news?
Yeah.
We don't have a ton of news to talk about today, but we can't talk about a Disney cruise without talking about the news that the Disney Wish is coming. The Disney Wish is the fifth ship in Disney's fleet. It's going to be the newest one. Last week and the week before, Disney released a whole bunch of videos and images and information and details about this new ship to get everybody excited because starting next week, we'll be able to book the inaugural season of that ship. So that ship is the Disney Wish. It's going to set sail June 2022. They have sailings to the Bahamas and the Caribbean, and you will be able to start booking those sailings depending on your Castaway Club ranking. You'll be able to start booking them May 17th already. So that's like coming up next week. So it's really exciting. It looks amazing. We're going to talk more about the actual ship and what to expect a little bit later, but that's the news. So we can't wait. Yippee.
Definitely.
Yes. All right. So let's dive into Disney Cruise. For people that are watching, you'll see that I actually have the Disney Cruise Line ears on. Jen has them too. She's just not wearing them.
I just can't wear them with my earphones.
Yes. But these ones can only be bought on Disney Cruise Line. I think they were selling them in Disney Springs for a period.
And eBay.
And apparently eBay. eBay works too.
eBay works.
All right.
Have them in red, by the way.
They do come in red. Yeah. The red ones are pretty.
And gold.
Do they have it come in gold too? Yeah. See, gold. I like the blue and white. The blue and white are good.
I do too.
So let's dive into Disney cruises. So we will be real. Yes, Disney Cruise Line and the cruise line industry is not open right now, but they are moving to that direction. We don't know the date yet, but it is coming. The crazy part that I find about Disney cruises is that although they haven't been running for a year and a half almost at this point, people are still booking them like crazy.
Like ridiculous amount. It's crazy. They're constantly booking them. The amount of buzz that the Disney Wish is generating and people like contacting us to get on our lists to book those when availability comes out. it's exciting, and it just goes to show you kind of what we're going to talk about today, that a Disney cruise is irresistible. And once you do a Disney cruise, it's really hard to go back to any other cruise line because there is so much value built in to a Disney experience. So yeah, absolutely.
I'm dying to know, like, when we're actually going to hit the seas here, like everybody else. I just really want to know. And there's some political drama in Florida right now about cruise ships and stuff. We'll see. Fingers crossed. I wish we had a crystal ball. I wish I was Madame Leota. I wish I could tell you.
I think surely by the inaugural season of The Wish, which is a year from now,
sure.
That one is more of a sure thing. I think, but
for me, I wouldn't be surprised. I think this fall you'll see. I was going to say, I really think this fall they need to. You just got to figure out. You get the vaccinated people on. You get tests done, and
that's what they're talking about. So I think that they're trying to work with the CDC and with the cruise line industry and all that kind of stuff to kind of set some parameters and set some rules about how to safely cruise. So I wouldn't be surprised if when it opens, there are definite guidelines and rules about showing that you've been fully vaccinated. So it'll be interesting, but
it is interesting. Yes. The Disney Cruise Line is, unlike any other cruise line, it sells out, I think, because there are only 4 ships, which is why they're bringing the 5th one and eventually the 6th one out. It's constantly selling out. And I think, we're going to go into detail about why Disney is different than the other cruise lines and the fun things about it. But really, people, like you said, people get addicted to the Disney Cruise Line and they book regardless of the fact that we don't have crystal balls. We don't know what it's going to look like. They're booked.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Is there's no risk to this, right? Yeah. And we can talk about that a little bit later, I guess, maybe when we get to the Mouseka tips. But there's no risk to booking a cruise that might end up canceled by Disney. Because you can actually really make out, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yes. So, of course, we have to start with food and drinks.
Yes.
Because are you new?
Because we're us. Our listener understands.
The listener will understand why we start with food and drinks. So Disney has many different dining choices that are included in your Disney cruise. They have tons of amazing meals. I've been on a bunch of different cruise lines, and I have to say Disney Cruises food is at the top. And that's weird having conversations with people because I've been on Princess, I've been on NCL and Royal Caribbean and all them, and Disney's food's just better. I don't know how to explain it. It is. They have the 24-hour room service. Disney does something different with their dining. They do rotational dining. So you will rotate between 3 restaurants and your servers will actually follow you. So it's the same table number you go to.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I love it.
We've finished our cruises and our kids are most sad because we're leaving our servers.
It's true. You don't realize that until you take a vacation that's like that, Disney cruise, or if somewhere else where you've got the same people serving you and your kids every day. And because it's Disney and they're cast members and they're so good at what they do, they become a part of your family. They're a memorable part of your vacation.
Last time, our last cruise, and they're great. Like they don't just, serve you your food and all that kind of stuff. We really do. We have conversations with them. We learn about where they're from because they're from all over the world. Mm-hmm. And our last cruise that we were on, one of our servers, because you get several, but they're all the same every night. And one of them was from the Dominican Republic. And we were talking all about how when we had traveled there, we loved it. And we were talking all about the food. So one of our last nights, he actually cooked a recipe, one of his mother's recipes, like a home cooked meal for us from the Dominican Republic. Not the whole meal, but just enough for us to taste it because we had one conversation with him about how much we loved visiting when we were there. And that was like the most memorable part of our cruise. The second most memorable part is that our server would come and cut Lily's food for us so that I didn't have to.
I was going to
She
say,
said, Mommy, you're on vacation. You don't need to cut her food. I got it.
That's one of my most memorable ones is, we took Blake, whose birthday is today, for his first birthday. We took him on a Disney cruise, and we were seated because you can be seated with other people. Well, now we'll see how that goes in the new world, but you were seated with different people, and we were a little nervous because we had a 1-year-old, but lo and behold, they sat us with another couple with one 1-year-old.
Oh, that's cute.
And it was perfect because they could scream at each other, and the 4 parents, we just sat back going, it's fine. I'm good with it. You're good with it.
We just ordered more wine.
We just ordered wine, but the server would first night realize that we spent half our meal cutting up the kids' foods. So come the second night, 1, the chocolate milk was already on the table. 2, the bread was already out because that kept them entertained. And then 3, the food came out all cut up, and it was awesome. We've had that. We've had servers figure out, the last cruise we went on, Logan's behavior was not wonderful and magical. But he loved playing with the bread bowls. Like he would empty all the bread out and just play with the bowl itself. So the server brought an extra bowl out for the rest of the meals for him to play with.
I love that they just see what you need and take care of it. You don't have to ask.
It's their attention to detail. It's great. And that goes for all of the cast members, not just the servers, but it really is. I mean, those are the ones, I think it's the servers in the dining rooms and the cast members in the kids clubs that you get the closest with because you see them the most and you have the most one-on-one experiences with them. But
so yes, the food, fantastic. If sitting down eating at a table with your children is not what you would like, because sometimes, let's be honest, I'm like, get them away from me. I'm not sitting with them. They also have other options. So they have, free pizza you can go up to. They have Cabanas that you can go, which is a buffet, which is like super quick service. Or if your family's just done and you want to sit in the hotel room and you're tired, order room service.
We used to do that.
It's included. It's not like it's not like at a hotel where you're paying $40 to get 2 Coronas delivered to your room. I've never done anything like that.
No, it's great. I mean, you do tip them when they bring you your food, but we used to use on one of the cruises that we did, we got they brought us warm cookies and milk at night for the kids, and we popped in a movie for them because they were tired and they didn't feel like going out and doing anything on the ship at night. So it's like a nonstop back-to-back Disney movie all the time on a Disney cruise. Imagine that. And we threw in a movie and they had their warm cookies and milk. It was adorable.
Oh my gosh, so great. But back to sitting at the restaurants, though, if you do want to sit at a restaurant, it's also, I think, a really important point to make that once you're, after they cut up your kid's food and you're enjoying your meal and your kid finishes eating, they will take your kids to the kids club.
Yes.
So mom and dad can finish dinner and their wine in peace.
I was going to say that's for the second seating. So there's 2 seatings.
Right.
There's the early one and then the second one. And lots of people don't want that second one because they're like, well, I don't want to eat later. I think it's like 7:45. And they're like, I don't want to eat at that point. But there is a good point. Like you said, well, you can. And then your kids can eat and then they can be whisked away. And then you can finish your meal peacefully. So I think lots of people don't want that later seating, but I do think it has a huge plus to it.
Right. The first seating does sell out most. And I get it. When my kids were little, I always wanted to try to keep a schedule on vacation. Never learned that actually doesn't happen. But the other thing about the second seating is that I like that you can come back from your excursion and not feel like you have to rush to get ready for dinner.
That was the other thing that we did with room service is that when we had second seating dining, we would come back from our excursion, like decompress for a while, but we'd order like a cheese and fruit board for the room. Yeah. And we'd sit in the room and have a little snack to tide us over and relax and not feel like we had to run over to dinner.
Yep.
And then that would buy us some time.
Right. I prefer the second seating. I mean, I don't know if I would if my kids were like 1 and 3, but
I was gonna say I haven't experienced the second seating yet. I need it. We're getting there. We're close.
Yeah.
Might be the next
get
one.
there.
But we
the kids clubs will also feed your kids for you if
Yes.
if you have second seating and they can't wait or don't want to wait or you just want a break from them. They'll feed them for you.
Yes. The one thing
I
we
wonder
haven't covered
though
is
Go ahead.
drinks.
You what?
The actual drinks.
Yes.
So those are not alcoholic drinks are not included.
No.
But I will say the pricing on them are significantly lower than other cruise lines.
And unlike other cruise lines, non-alcoholic drinks are included. So you
Yes.
don't have to buy like a soda package or, soda and juice. You can just go and drink like non-alcoholic drinks, soda, juice, milk, all that kind of stuff, which is great. And then the drinks are not that expensive. They do offer packages that, like you said in the beginning, they'll have that drink of the day. And then once you buy the cup, then all of your refills are a little less expensive.
Your refills on the drink of the day?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that is dangerous.
Yeah. They also have wine packages with dinner.
I would say we usually get those.
We do too.
Yeah. Those are good ones. Those ones are good. And then a big note that you can do is you can bring 2 bottles of wine on the ship with you.
And at the ports, you can bring on other stuff too. I remember I have a list. I don't remember. I think you can bring like 6 beers.
Yeah, you can bring 6 beers or 2 bottles of wine or something like that. But we've always brought on 2 bottles of wine. So if we're in the house or if we're in the stateroom, we
just wine and cheese board.
We have our wine.
Yeah. So that's good for the first day.
Yeah.
And then at your first port, you can buy 2 more bottles of wine, right?
Yes.
And bring
that's
those
what we
on
did last time. In all seriousness, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's an important
part
of
when you see the adults all walking around and like the customized drinks like these, like cups where you're like, oh, what's in there? That's what's in there.
My juice.
Is that red coffee or white coffee in your mug?
Yes, it is. That's the thing with the wine that you bring on the ship. If you bring it down to the dining room, they charge you a corking fee.
Yep.
But we just, like you said, we would drink it in the room with our cheese and fruit board, and we'd be very sophisticated.
In the South, we call that a dresser.
A dresser?
The drink that you have when you're getting ready is called a dresser.
Oh, I love the dresser. It's important.
I learned that from my Southern girlfriends.
My goodness.
I feel like we could spend the whole thing on food and
we
drink.
could.
Should we mention, is it later on? Should we mention the other restaurants that are?
the adult only ones we're going to go into for the adult side.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Clearly I didn't read the outline before recording today. Sorry.
Let's talk staterooms.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So big difference with the staterooms. Staterooms on Disney are designed for families, extra space, extra storage, sitting areas. They are by far the biggest staterooms. It is a slap in the face when you go from a Disney cruise line to another cruise line, because all of a sudden you're like, whoa, no, this is not just look at the square footage alone. I've done the comparisons and it scares me a bit on fitting all those people in the tiny rooms, but Disney's are a bit bigger. One of the best things I love is they have raised the beds. Mm-hmm. So all the beds are raised up. So all your suitcases, strollers can fit underneath. Everything can fit underneath that bed, which is awesome. They have split bathrooms.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part. I love the split bath. I love the split bath in the Disney resorts, and on the ship, especially when you're back from your excursion and everybody's sandy and gross and fighting to get in the shower and fighting to get in the bathroom, to go to the bathroom. And it's fantastic. And we have 6 people in our party. The family staterooms some of them sleep 5, which is fantastic and a huge game changer for larger families. We of course have 6, so we need 2 staterooms, but I have to say I love it because then we get 2 split baths and it's fantastic.
And unlike Disney resorts, on Disney Cruise, you can guarantee to have connecting staterooms.
Yes.
You can pick them to be connecting. So
Yes.
that is a bonus.
It's a huge bonus.
Talk to me for a minute, though, about storage in these rooms. I know that the beds are raised. You can get your suitcases under there. But
There's
you girls know
much
right,
storage.
Like, I'm an unpacker. Do not put me on a 7-day cruise. Don't even put me on a 3-day cruise without a place to put my stuff. Like when I put those suitcases under the bed, they're empty.
Yes. Yep. Me too.
And that's where the laundry goes.
There is so much space between there's drawer space for miles. And then they have these huge closets also with some shelving and storage space, because we usually use more of the shelves than the hanging stuff. We just don't bring as much hanging stuff. It's not necessary. So they factor that in for families.
Oh my God, I'm always the person who calls down for extra hangers. Yep. That's me.
Well, you can have all of mine. See, we work well together.
Yin and yang.
Yin and yes. And then there's even storage in the bathrooms. I mean, there's so much. And I mean, you go on Pinterest and all the blogs and everybody has all these other, tips for you. We bring magnetic hooks that we put on the doors because the doors are metal, so that we hang all of our lanyards so that everybody knows where it is. Otherwise, they're going to be lost forever. I mean, there's so many cool tricks of the trade for, navigating and packing and storing.
It has family of 5, last time we went, we were on a 7-night cruise, and I had no problem unpacking every single person's clothing, shoes, everything. Everything was put away. They have cute little stuff for the kids too. So I don't know if it's in there now, because actually I saw it at that resale shop. So I don't know if they redid them, but they had like a center table that flipped open and it was storage in there. Yeah. And the center table in like the living room area, that's where my kids put all their stuffed animals and their toys. So when they were done playing, they threw them all down in there. It's so much storage, and it's very well thought out. There's no wasted space in corners. They're very smart with how they're planning, and even the split bathrooms. Eric and I were able to put our stuff in one bathroom and all the kids' stuff in the other bathroom. So it's very, very smart. Especially if you're traveling with a baby, which I've done a ton of. They have so many different things you can request, from diaper genies, of course, the pack and plays, but toddler bed rails, which were huge for us. Because it is, if you're going 5, you have a bunk bed system, but that top bunk is high, super high. So we had bed rails for there, and then you could still fit a pack and play in there. Yeah. It was. And
the cool thing about that is that you have these stateroom hosts and hostesses, which you don't have to worry about any of that. When you're out down eating breakfast, they're coming in to put the room back together again, to close up all the beds so that you have more walking and moving space. And then at night, when you're at dinner or at the shows or whatever, they're coming to make everybody's beds and get everything ready so that when you come back to the room, you don't have to worry about pulling the bed down from the ceiling or pulling the bed down from the wall. It's like
the ultimate in mom pampering.
Yes,
I mean, really.
It really is.
And they customize it too, because majority of the time they'll put the pack and play away. But we had a child at one point that was napping in the afternoon. So I was like, hey, can you not put it away? I said, because they nap. Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. So then they were making the crib bed for him, leaving the crib out so he could go in there and nap. And it was just a quick, just leave it out. And they're like, oh, yes, of course. Like they really do customize it however you need to do. And my thing was, I was like, oh, we're going to get the diaper genie. And Eric's like, well, where do we put when it gets full? No, they empty that sucker every single day.
Every day.
Wow. It's insane. Gosh. That's a dream come true, too. Right? Someone's entering my diaper genie. What?
It is truly mommy pampering. You're so right. It's awesome.
Okay, we were talking staterooms. I mean, did you guys want to go over like the categories, or just to say that they're big and they're great? I mean, I don't think there's too much to say.
Great. I mean, I think key things, the interior rooms, which no windows, but Disney does fun animated windows. So you see characters come across. You'll actually see a glimpse of the actual outside.
Yes, they do real-time photos also. So especially not when you're in the middle of the ocean. Usually when you're in the middle of the ocean, they're putting the fun cartoony things on there. But when you're at a port, especially, they have real-time images of what we're seeing out of our balconies.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that's important to note, the rooms that have balconies, because this was a huge fear of mine that Lily would totally go out there and jump in the middle of the night, especially with us having 2 staterooms, and we slept in our own room and had the 4 kids in the other one. I was terrified that she would get out at night. And they have that lock that's so high up there and not easy to open. So that's kind of, no, don't worry about that.
I was going to say, it's
Upgrade.
a double lock system. They have to get through the regular one. Then they have to get through the one that's all the way at the top.
Right.
And then on top of it, my big thing too is we were on a cruise where the balconies just have the railings going across. And I was like, oh, no. Like, no, but Disney has plexiglass going across it. So they literally can't throw anything out. They can't get a finger. They can't get anything out.
Right.
So the balcony rooms, I mean, obviously it's your deal on whether you feel comfortable with it, but they've done anything and everything they could do for kids for that one. My favorite are the ocean view rooms, which is a porthole. I would recommend the one porthole because it's a gigantic porthole that has a cushion at the bottom of it that you can actually sit. So I actually fit in it. It's one of my kids' favorite features in the staterooms because they climb in there and you can 2 or 3 of them fit in there at one point and they can look out the window and they love that. So I think that one is a cool touch of the cushion in there. Not every adult's going to climb in there. It's more put in there for the kids. I mean,
I have great pictures of Lily sitting in there last time.
That's awesome.
Yes.
There are so many different stateroom options for all different kinds of families and different preferences. And I think that we could talk about them for hours, but
kind of like the food.
Yeah.
I think this is like 8 different podcasts.
Yeah, exactly. So, but truly, if you listener are interested in a Disney cruise, you definitely should call your favorite travel agents, that's us, and discuss what the best options are for you, because there are a lot and we just don't have time to talk about them all right now.
No, there's not. I mean,
Agreed.
You could go on and on. So big part of the Disney cruise is entertainment. So I will say this is the one my husband was afraid of. He's like, I don't want to watch Disney entertainment my entire cruise. I'll lose my mind. Because on a Disney cruise line, there is no casino. Which is different than any other cruise line. For me, yay, I keep my money. Because usually it's gone.
Keep your money and you're not walking through a room and coming out smelling like you rolled around in an ashtray.
Correct.
There's that. So did you guys know this? Well, I don't know if this is true, but I had heard, and I need to do the research, that like on cruise ships and their casinos, there's no regulations. Like on the slot machines in Vegas or whatever, there has to be a certain winning percentage, but on cruise ships, they don't have to follow by that, like that. So you could play there all night long and never win a thing.
Correct.
If you're a slots person. I have turned $5 into $100 at a blackjack table on a cruise before, but it's not like, I'm good without the casino on the Disney cruise.
I really thought before we did a Disney cruise being on other cruise lines that we were going to miss the casino. We used to do like blackjack tournaments and we would, like all that stuff, but I really didn't miss it.
No.
We ended up spending a little bit more time with the kids, but Eric and I ended up spending more time together versus me staring at my cards or the table or whatever. Yeah. So I don't know. I really liked it. And Eric's fear were these Disney shows, but I'll be honest with you, he sat through them and he liked them. They have anything from Frozen to Aladdin to that.
They're Broadway quality.
Yeah, exactly what I was just going to say. These aren't like, this isn't my personal favorite Finding Nemo at Animal Kingdom. I hate that show. This is like Broadway caliber.
Broadway and like, they made it snow in the theater. That's all I'm going to say. Like it's unbelievable. And when we did our last cruise, which was 2019, we went with a bunch of other families, and our kids, even Lily, who at the time was 5, she was at the kids clubs till like 11 o'clock at night. Yep. So usually the adults were in like the adult neighborhood of the ship all night. We did one night where we all as a family went and saw the show, one of the shows, because I'm like, we can't be on a cruise and not see one of these shows. They're fantastic. And they fought me on it and loved it because it snowed in the theater.
I feel like that's what happens though. You're like, I don't really need to go see a show. And then you go see one and you're like, what show's tomorrow?
Right. They're Broadway
they have,
caliber, but they're not Broadway 3 hours long.
No.
They're Broadway caliber for like 40 minutes. So it's perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
And they have other stuff too. So they have I love the comedians. My kids love the comedians because they do a kid version. And then if
or
you
an adult version.
And then if you head over to the adult section, all of a sudden he pops up in there at 10:30 at night.
Yes.
And that's the one I like. But the kids love the comedian. And it was, they have a different array of things that you could do. They also have drawing classes that you can do for your favorite characters. We did one of those last time. They have so much entertainment going on, not just at night, but during the days.
They have the movie theaters that are always showing first run movies. Well, I forget which movie had just come out while we were on the ship, but we hadn't had a chance to see it in the movie theaters at home. We saw it on the ship. It was fantastic. And then
we did Frozen 2. It came out that day.
See,
and we saw
it's fantastic. And like you said, the comedians, they had like adult game shows that were hysterical. They have bars and lounges, depending on the ship that you're on. I forget, I think it was the Magic or the Magic, where there was that champagne bar that was fantastic. We loved to do that one. And then on the Fantasy, it was called the Meridian. It was a gin bar. I was telling the girls before, that was like I dream about that place.
Now you're speaking my language. And they have again, I might be jumping the gun, but they have like mixology classes.
They do. We did several of those.
They have, you're not jumping the gun. They have a ton of stuff in terms of like character meet and greets, princess meet and greets. You can sign up for all these different mixologists. I call them liquor tasting classes, and those sell out. Those sell out so fast.
And those are at an extra fee, right?
They are at an extra fee. They do sell out in advance, but here's a bonus Mouseka tip early. One of the mixology classes that I really wanted had sold out before the trip. So when we boarded the ship, I went to guest services and they had space for us.
Yeah, so that is a great Mouseka tip for almost anything on board. If there's something you were not able to schedule through your account ahead of time, I'm not saying you're guaranteed to get it if you ask on board, but ask.
But this was a cruise during a school vacation, and we still were able to. So we did a tequila tasting, and we did a martini mixology.
So yeah, we did a white wine. We did a wine one. We did a champagne one. And we did a whiskey one.
Oh, sounds great. All right.
Mark would love that one.
Yeah, all right. So the opposite of what we're talking about, while you're doing all that stuff, the kids
while you're drinking.
What do you do with your kids?
So I think one of the biggest selling and key factors between Disney and anyone else is their kids club.
Hands down.
It's absolutely amazing. Go online, look at these.
Which is no surprise, right?
Yeah, no surprise.
No surprise.
No.
Disney kids, they take care of the kids.
They do. Go through, look at these pictures, the activities they have. They have magic bands that scan them in and out. They can tell you where the kids are at all times. You can set up security on whether you want them to check themselves in and out, or if you want a parent or a family member to come check them in and out, so you can fully control the security on what they're able to do.
And there's a password that the people need to know, so Uncle Bobby can't go get your kid unless Uncle Bobby has the password.
I don't know how I feel about Uncle Bobby.
It's also really cool though. So again, our last cruise, 2019, we had a kid in almost every age range except for the nursery. So the nursery is the only one that charges extra. That's for kids 6 months to 3 years. They'll charge you a fee for like babysitting. But all the other ages 3 through 17, everything is included. So we had a 5-year-old who was in the Oceaneer Club and the Oceaneer Lab. We had a preteen who was in the Edge, and then we had 2 teens who were in Vibe. And they all, like, I didn't see my teenagers for a week. Like they would stroll in at like 2:00 in the morning, like, hanging out with their friends. And the Edge does not, or the Vibe was not open till 2:00 in the morning. I think it stayed open till midnight, and they would just go elsewhere with their friends, and pick a lounge and chat. And they still keep in touch with these kids.
I mean, and you don't feel too like how much trouble are they?
Where are they going to go? No,
like,
I felt totally fine.
I was gonna say I had younger kids, and I started to feel bad. But then my kids would come. I'm not joking, and I tell people this. Like, we would go to pick up our 2 kids that are in Oceaneers, and they'd be like, "No," and I'm like, "You've been there for 5 hours. Let's go. I haven't seen you." No. And it was the same story. I'd pass by, and kids were screaming at their parents, "I don't want to come out." No.
Yeah,
and
Lily was in there till 11 every night, and that was only because I'm like, all right, she hasn't called. Yeah. We need to go get her.
Having your martini tasting.
Hey.
No, and speaking, you talked about the nurseries. So we've done the nursery pretty much every trip at this point. The nurseries for 6 months to 3 years. This is the reason I went on Disney to begin with, was because of the nursery. They're the only ones that allow you to drop off children this young into a nursery type setting. They have a play area, then they have a separate area where the cribs are at, so the kids can nap and sleep. And we quickly found out that it's the best to put them in there in the afternoon, especially if they're used to their naps, because there's no point as an adult for me to be sitting in my stateroom while they're napping. They may as well be napping there, and I can go with the older kids, or I can just hang out with my husband and chill out. And they have ocean phones, wave phones that they can contact you on. And lots of times I would walk in there and they'd be like, "Oh no, he's still napping. We'll call you when he wakes up." And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, the nursery's fantastic. The kids club is, characters come in and out of there. Like, I was so concerned about my kids meeting characters. And they're like, "Oh, we met Captain Hook yesterday."
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
They read, one of the days I came in to get Lily, and Captain Hook and Smee were telling bedtime stories. Like, it was so cute.
I mean, my goodness, right? Like, what a dream come true
What a character
for a little
meet and greet, right? Yeah.
So
I also have to say, for the older kids, on your app, you will be able to text with them on the ship for no extra fee. So that was really good too.
There's no Wi-Fi on board unless you pay for it.
Yeah. So obviously my older kids, I didn't have to sign them in and out, but if they're at the teen clubs doing their own thing, and Mark and I were doing our own thing, and they were done doing their thing, they could text us and be like, "Hey, where are you?" And they would come hang out with us, which was really nice too. So
that sounds so fantastic. So while the kids are in the kids club, what are the grown-ups doing other than tasting martinis and whiskey?
Catching up on years of sleep.
Well, because a lot of people think I don't want to do a Disney cruise because I don't want to be surrounded by children, my own or other people's, but you can really be separated if you want to.
So I have a funny story about this one. So the last one we did, we had 2 days at sea. So the days at sea is really when you're utilizing all that the ship has to offer. And so our kids were all at their various, kids clubs, and the adults went to the adult area of the pool. Which truly, like, you can't hear the kids, can't see the kids. It's so private. Not only is it so private and wonderful, but even on a full to capacity school vacation cruise, we never had a problem, even on our days at sea, finding a place to sit, like lounge chairs. And they are really strict with the nobody under 18 in that area. We were there with my niece, who was turning 18 in 3 weeks, and they wouldn't let her in. And although she was super angry about that, I was kind of like, I love my niece, but I was kind of like, you know what? Go Disney.
Yeah, I mean,
because truly, like, people are paying to have these adults only experiences, and you
got to cut it off somewhere.
And I was going to say, like, you really can't hear. They're so smart in the engineering part of, they put it in the front of the ship. So
they do.
Noise can't travel back because it's at the front. So
we had our own bar.
Yes.
We had our own servers. We couldn't hear the kids or the parties that were going on at the pools on the family sections. It was like glorious.
I was going to say and I think that's the hardest part to explain to people, because they're like, oh, well, I want to enjoy myself as an adult. I'm like, this is actually the perfect part, because they come up with the best way to entertain your children. And on top of that, there's still so many adult areas. So you have the entire adult pool area. But then, as we've kind of mentioned, you have the entire adult at night bar area. Yes. And it's not one bar, it's like 6 or 7 bars.
They call it a neighborhood. It truly is. And kids can't even get back there.
No.
It's hidden from the rest of the areas. You actually need to go there purposefully. There's like Irish pubs. There are karaoke bars. There's a champagne bar on some of them. It's fantastic.
Champagne bar is my favorite. It has bubbles everywhere. It is a lot of pink, but it has bubbles.
It's pretty.
I love it. The Skyline Bar changes the skyline every single couple of minutes. So you're in Hong Kong one time, and then New York, and then you go somewhere else.
There are great things. There's also adults only dining, which we should discuss. Those you have to pay extra. There's a surcharge for those. When we were there, we did it, the adults one night all went and we ate at Palo. And, but we went to our regular seating for dinner that night so that we could still eat dinner with our kids, and the adults, we had a bottle of wine and the kids ate their meals, and we still got to sit with the kids. We hung out with them. We walked Lily over to her kids club. The teenagers did their own thing. And then the adults went up to Palo, and it was fantastic. And that's an experience. It was great.
I was going to say, so Palo on the Fantasy and on the Dream, Palo and Remy are on those. Palo is more Italian.
Yes.
Not full Italian, but Italian. It's the cheaper option.
Yes.
It's somewhere between like $25 and $50 per person.
Extra.
And then you have Remy. Remy is the fancy French one. We did Remy one of our first times on the ship because I think it was our anniversary.
We couldn't get Remy. Remy is the harder one to get.
Remy's hard to get. We were able to snag it. It is unlike any other. I mean, it is a full Michelin star. And it's not Michelin star, but it should be star, like French sit down course. They do warn you it takes 3 hours.
Experience, yeah.
It is awesome. They come out and explain everything. They do everything. It is an experience. These two restaurants also do brunches, which I highly recommend.
Those are really hard to get too.
Yeah, we did a Remy brunch the last time we were on, and the head chef comes out and like explained ham and champagne to us, and the brunch was amazing. Definitely full afterwards. But those two, and then they have a cute little bar because it's at the front of the ship, overlooking the front of the ship, that is only for people dining at Palo and Remy.
And that's also that area is where the Meridian Bar is, where the gym. Moving on, I think one of the other special features about a Disney cruise is their private island. And I know all the cruise lines have their private islands, but I also have been on different cruise lines, and there is nothing in the world like Castaway Cay, which is Disney's private island. It is fantastic. It is gorgeous. They think of everything. You disembark at Castaway Cay, and you don't need to get back on the ship at all that day. They have everything that you need. They have delicious food options. They have bars. They take the kids clubs out of the ship, and they have kids club areas on the island. You can pay extra to do different excursions, or you can not, and you can just sit on the beach all day and enjoy.
I know. I feel bad because we keep talking about the ways you can get rid of your kids. You can hang out with your kids too.
Yes.
Just know that these other things are options for you. A couple of the cool things I like about Castaway Cay are they do a fun run.
Yes.
On Castaway Cay, it's a 5K, I think. So if you're
it's not even a 5K. I think it's like a 3K.
A 3K? Yeah, that sounds right. But the trick here's a bonus Mouseka tip, is the people who are doing the 3K are allowed to disembark before everybody else onto Castaway Cay. So you can take your stuff if you haven't been lucky enough to rent a cabana, and we'll talk about that in a second. If you take some of your stuff off the ship with you and start your fun run and dump your stuff. You can snag a spot before other people. I mean, there's plenty of room.
Tip.
Yeah, there's plenty of room on Castaway Cay, but
if you're particular with where you want to be,
and I am.
And talk about not getting rid of your kids. When we were on the ship, Mark actually did the run with our 3 older boys, so that was a really cute way for that. Like, I did not. I stayed in with Lily and met them there, but I sent them with all our stuff, like you said, and they got us great chairs right by the water, and they did their little run. And Lily and I were able to disembark in time to see them crossing the finish line. Cute. It was so cute. It was a nice, like, family way to start the day.
Yeah. So real quick about cabanas. You can rent cabanas on Castaway Cay, but they open based on what I guess is seniority the word?
Castaway
your
club
Castaway status.
Yeah.
So platinum members get to reserve them first, blah, blah, blah. Just like everything.
Guests who are staying in suites.
I was going to say concierge usually snap. They grab
for sure. But they take them, and it's not easy to get one. So this is your tip if you can't get a cabana. Just get there early.
And keep trying also.
Yeah. And keep trying. Always keep trying. And sail more. The more you sail, the better your status. So you could do it that way too. All right.
So I think the last thing in regards for Disney cruises, they do have theme nights. I think one of the most popular one is if you're on a Caribbean or a Bahamian cruise, they do pirate night, themed dinner. Everyone dresses up as some sort of pirate. It's an entire deck party, fireworks. You see Captain Jack come out. It's kind of theatrical. I will say I like the one 3 years ago versus the one that was happening right before it shut down. But it is, like Juliana said, this is a family event. This is the kids stay up late that night. This is family. You dance with the kids. Everybody's on deck.
Fireworks at sea.
Fireworks at sea. Only cruise line that does that.
Yeah, I was going to say nowhere else. Nowhere else will you get special
permission from the Coast Guards to get these fireworks. They have to be situated a certain way. Everything. So it is absolutely fantastic. They also do Marvel nights, Star Wars days at sea. They do a Halloween themed cruise, and then they do a very Merry Christmas cruise, which we were on, which was amazing. So they do a bunch of themed ones, or you could just do a regular one, which is awesome. And these themed ones, Halloween and Christmas is more throughout your entire time. Christmas is kind of thrown at you. Halloween's thrown at you. But the Marvel and Star Wars days, they're only one day. So you are enjoying the rest of your cruise the other days. But that one day is fantastic.
They still also have the pirate nights as well.
Yes.
So you get 2 parties and 2 fireworks shows on those cruises, which are fantastic. And I know, we were supposed to go on a Marvel Day at Sea in 2020. What happened to that? Or 2021. But the Star Wars one, yes, it's only your one day at sea where the whole day is Star Wars themed. However, there are different decorations on the ship that stay up for the whole week. There are character meet and greets with Star Wars characters sprinkled about a little bit during the week, but mostly on that one day. It's really cool. Try them out.
Yeah,
they're fun. There's nothing like them.
I was gonna say other cruise lines aren't really doing themed nights, themed things. The Halloween one, I haven't done. It looks absolutely amazing.
That's the one I need to get on.
Yeah, that one has like a creepy tree in the lobby. Yeah, it's awesome. The Christmas one itself was, we were huge Christmas people, and I loved that. I loved it. So those are Disney.
Cute.
That's everything Disney Cruise Line. Definitely contact us if you have questions. I know we wanted to quickly go over the Disney Wish because that's the newest ship coming. And
I think maybe we'll do that on our live this week.
You want to do that one on the live? All right.
Because I think we're running out of time. It's getting late, and I don't want to shortchange the Wish because it's like, I'm so excited for this one. I have a feeling you guys will see some Mouseka on this sailing in the future, but let's talk about that. We go live on our Facebook group every Thursday at 11 a.m. Central or Eastern Standard Time. So tune in this week, and I think this week we'll go into more detail about the Wish because I think it it deserves some attention.
Yes.
So.
And we
Just a
also have a
little.
blog post out on it as well.
Yes.
So if you want to read before and then watch us live,
Study.
Kind of like college.
if you actually want to see pictures too, because I have a bunch of pictures on that blog too. So take a look at that so you can see what we're talking about when we go live on Thursday.
It's so exciting.
Good
I'm
plan.
so excited for the wish. Okay, so the Mouseka tip. I already mentioned that it's essentially no risk booking. If you're concerned whether or not they're going to sail, don't worry about it. If they cancel, you get your money back plus some. So we have a few Mouseka tips. Book your cruise as early as possible. Prices do go up as rooms sell out. It is purely supply and demand. As rooms get taken, prices go up. So book as early as you can. Also, you can book your next cruise while you're on your current cruise. You can do it. It's called a placeholder. You don't even need to know when you want to sail. You put down a deposit, right, girls? Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
You put down a deposit. You have usually, a year, 2 years?
It's 2 years.
2 years to use it. You get a discounted deposit plus a discount on the sailing in general, 2 years to use the placeholder. And if you don't, you get your money back.
Yeah.
So also
it's no risk.
No risk.
No.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about is a lot of you had sailings that were canceled and you ended up with an FCC, a future cruise credit. So some of these were 100% of your cruise fare. Some were up to 150%, but most of them were 125%. So that means whatever you paid for your cruise, you got that plus 25% to spend on a Disney cruise. So when you apply, first of all, call us. We can absolutely, just because you have a future cruise credit, whether or not you booked with us at first, we can absolutely help you plan your next cruise using that future cruise credit. So don't think you can't use us as your agents if you have one of those. But if you have this 125% or 150% worth of money sitting in your account, on your Castaway account, and the cruise that you book is not as much as you have, all that leftover money gets put into your account as an onboard credit. And with Disney, you can use your onboard credit for a lot more than you can with other cruise lines. You can use it for alcoholic drinks. You can use it for gratuities. You can use it for excursions. Some cruise lines won't allow that. So these are all just tips for how to get the most bang for your buck on your Disney cruise. And of course, use your favorite travel agents. They'll help you.
It's true. It's true. All right. Well, thank you for spending another episode with us. We want to know if you've been on a Disney cruise, tell us what your favorite parts were about that cruise. For the latest news out of Disney, don't forget to visit our blog at mousekamoms with an S, blog.com. Join our Facebook page, our Facebook group at Disney Planning and Chat by Mouseka Moms, where you will hear this Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time all about the Disney Wish, and we'll be able to answer all of your questions in general about the Disney Cruise Line. So we look forward to seeing you then. Bye.
Bye.